So for many of us, COVID has absolutely stifled our plans. I myself had plans to be back in my Glasgow workshop working away on commissions, but lockdown, and yet again I am not able to do that. But lockdown hasn't just stymied my plans of wanting to return to work, but like many others it may have stymied yours, especially if this year or last year you were planning on getting engaged or married. I know this is a very difficult time for engaged couples. Weddings have been postponed, some engagements have been postponed as well because obviously some couples are actually not together, and my heart really does go out to you. Some of you may have actually got engaged over lockdown, in which case congratulations, but you may be facing the problem of you want to get married, you want to have this perfect wedding, but you have no idea when that's going to happen and what that's going to look like. In my business, I have seen an influx of new ways of getting married, so actually virtual weddings, so that people that really want to get married and just want to get it done now can actually do it. But with all these problems that you are facing right now, if you are a newly engaged couple, or if you're hoping to get engaged, or if you're just waiting to get married, don't let it knock you down. COVID may have changed your plans and slightly ruined them, but this is the perfect time to start planning. There is a lot of planning that goes into the perfect wedding, and especially if you want to have things custom made, it takes time to get them made. And this is the perfect opportunity for you to say, right, there is plenty of time on my hands. I won't be able to actually get married until God knows when at this point, but I can get everything else out of the way. So I have less stress when the time comes, and you will have everything ready to go. And I am here to help you do that, at least for the jewellery side. Today, for example, I'm actually creating 2 wedding band prototypes for a bride who can't decide whether to go for a traditional wedding band or for a slightly alternative wedding band. So we've already discussed different styles and different approaches, and she quite likes the idea of something a little bit organic, but still very refined, very simple, very delicate. So today I'm going to be making one very traditional, plain, but yet very refined, very delicate wedding band, and one slightly alternative, and she can decide what direction she wants to take. But if you watched my video from last week when I was doing a photography shoot up in my loft where my workshop is in the absolutely freezing cold, the situation this week hasn't changed. We are now at -10 degrees and the loft is just not heating up. Even with the heating, even with my little heater, it is just absolutely freezing. I can't move my hands, so I've actually relocated to my bedroom in order to continue doing these commissions. Now, I went up to my workshop first thing this morning, and that is exactly why I know that I can't work up there, because I stayed up there for the 15 minutes that it took me to just prepare a couple of things, and then my hands were freezing over and I was just like, right, okay, I'm bringing it down to my bedroom and I'm going to finish them off down here. But I needed to get up there to just cut out the chunks that I needed in order to make the ring. So let me quickly show you what I did upstairs in order to prepare these rings. So first things first, I am using a golden wax, which is perfect for carving out wedding rings because it's got a nice springiness to it without it being too brittle, but it's still a nice hard wax. I've then taken the dimensions that I need for the inner and outer size of the ring, and I'm actually just roughly cutting it to size. If it weren't so cold, I would actually be spending more time with the saw blade refining it, but I can actually do this job downstairs with my file. As you can see, they're very roughly cut. They look quite hideous, but they still need to go through the ugly stage before they get to the beautiful stage. So these are all the tools that I will be using today. As you can see, wax carving actually requires just minimal amount of tools, and it means that when I actually come to the carving part, I can literally just do it at any table. So first of all, we have an array of files. These are specific wax files, so they've got much bigger grooves. This is an old metalworking file that I have repurposed for wax carving. And these are some needle files that again are a bit old and they're perfect for wax carving. You never use the same tools to then go back and use in metal because the wax does clog it up and it basically ruins the tool. So if I've got some select tools that I use only for wax carvings, and a lot of them are recycled tools from metalwork. As you can see, I've also got a bigger file. I've also got a Stanley knife or scalpel, depending on the kind of job that I need to do, but that is always a staple. It's always very, very handy to have. I've got an inner corer that allows me to actually smooth out the edges of the inside of the ring. And then I've got my ring sizer to keep me true to size. And here, as we saw upstairs, are the two rings that are very, very roughly cut out, and it's just basically giving me the generic size. Now I need to use these tools and actually turn these horrible things into rings. So first things first, I want to get the inner side of the ring nice and smooth and hopefully vaguely to size. I'm just checking the size at this point. And yes, we're almost there. It's just slightly on the small side, but I'm very happy with that because I want it to be slightly smaller at this stage. Now I'm going to go to the outside and do the exact same thing and smooth it into a perfect round so that it's not slanted, because at the moment, as you can see, it's a little bit slanted to one side, so I want to even that out and I want to take all these ridges away. As you can see, this file gets very clogged up very quickly, so this is exactly why we don't then take it back to use on metal, because this file is gradually getting so clogged up and ruined that it would do the metal no good. But it's perfect for wax carving. Now at this point I've got it to quite a good stage, so I'm going to take it to the sides, because again they're full of ridges, they're all wonky, so I'm actually going to take it to the sides. Now, as you can see, this is starting to finally look a little bit more like a ring, especially considering that this is what it looked like before. So it is starting to look a little bit better, but there's still a lot of work to be done to it. In order to get it how I want it, I've just realised that I need a little bit of sandpaper, which I forgot to bring down. So I'm just going to nip up and grab it without hopefully getting too cold and come down and carry on. So between sanding and filing, I have finally managed to create this lovely, simple, D-shaped wedding band. And again, it's for a woman who wants something quite small and elegant. So as you can see, it is very delicate, very refined, and it is just very, very simple. Now, you might remember that before I said that I was going to do 2 wedding bands, and that is correct, because she wanted to see 2 different styles. So it's going to be the exact same size, the exact same process, but this time she wanted to see something a little less traditional. Now, not absolutely insane, but just something a little bit different. So for the next one, I'm going to be playing around a little bit and creating a little bit of an unconventional wedding band. So as you can see, this one's quite similar to the other one at this stage. I've got it all sorted from the inside, the outside, the sides. They're all basically done. But for this one, I'm going to take it in a little bit of a different direction. So now I've hacked out some bits, as it were. I've made it all faceted. Now you can't really see very well in this light, unfortunately, and the colour does put it off a little bit. But hopefully you'll be able to see that it kind of sparkles at different points. So whenever you hold it up to the light, it'll sparkle in a different way and actually make it look like it might have loads of little diamonds on it, while in fact it's loads of little facets. So this is my design for the more stone-like ring. And me and my client had spoken about something a little faceted but had that organic feel to it. So I think that this is what she was looking for. So in comparison, you've got something that's very simple, very classic, very traditional. And then you've got something that is still got that classic style to it and still very simple, but just that slight alternative edge. And when that is cast in gold, it will just catch the light beautifully. So they actually work quite nicely as little stacking rings, actually. So these are the two rings. So which one would you pick? Would you go for the more traditional wedding band, or would you go for something a little bit more alternative? If, like many other couples, you are planning on getting engaged or getting married, but you feel that COVID is stopping you, don't despair. You can still plan. It will happen. And don't forget, I am always here to help you on your way. So if you have any requests for any engagement rings or any wedding bands or anything of that sort, then please just contact me directly through my social media at Lorna Design or through my website at lornaromanenghi.com, and I am here and happy to help in any way that I can. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video and would like to continue seeing more like it, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notifications button, which will keep you up to date to any new videos coming out. Thanks again for joining me today, and see you next week.